Is this sliding roof going to slide, Duncan?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. So guys, here you can see the heavy duty commercial draw runners that I'm using to actually slide the roof. Off the top of the structure. You can see they comprise a ball bearing design, and they're supposed to be rated to 250 kilograms. In the specs, that is a weight that's supposed to be distributed over the entire draw runner. And here you can see one of the draw runners connected to the top of the framework, screwed directly in. And as you can see, we've got the L brackets that attach to the inside.
So we should both be able to hang off this.
So then here guys, we've got our first 4 timbers, and I've double checked my measurements. So the width is clearly, I'm having to allow a bit of space for the thickness of the heavy duty sliders. Double checking and triple checking, carefully marking out those measurements, because one side to be sort of even half a centimetre longer than the back side, let's say, because those draw runners are exactly parallel to each other. So as you imagine, if you construct it and then as you slide it out, if your backside was slightly wider, it would start pinching as you slid it out. But anyway, so now after cutting these timbers, I'm now using 90-degree steel L brackets, because I just thought it was a more secure way of fastening these timbers together, because I'm not using 4x2 and huge, strong. It's now 3x2 timbers. Fix the 4 corners, the aid of the L brackets with sort of 4 screws on each side of the bracket. It's a fixture. You can see I'm starting to line them up so carefully to a line that I've actually the angle from the 90-degree angle set square. So now at this point we're laying out the 4 timbers, trying to get it as close to square as we can using the set square. Obviously at this point it only needs to be close to square, because when we add the rafters across the span of the roof, that will then be more crucial to keep this part of the unit roof structure square. So with that, I'll speed up the rest of this process So here I've just actually slid on that square structural part of the roof, and before putting the rafters across. And this is when I thought, well, I missed vlogging sliding it up on there. But here you can see where literally it is that square structure of timber I've slid on, and it sits on nicely those aluminium brackets on the sliders. There's a bit of jiggery pokery with the camera here, trying to get the sort of exposure bright enough and in the right areas. But there's one of the brackets, look, and the timber's just sitting on there. There's no screws in at the minute, but I'm just lining this up, making sure it's even on both sides, because it overhangs the front by somewhat and butts up to the back timber. Here you can see again on this footage, I've now put one screw on each bracket. Here's the other back corner. Good meaty screws with washers, and I've done the same on the front too. So here I'm just testing that we can release the catches on the sliders and then get a successful slide just with the very basic framework in place. And yes, from what I remember here, I was actually, I think because there was so much side flexure, it was sort of catching on one of the midway points, because obviously there's sort of two segments that fold out of the sliders, and unless they're sort of quite square, they were a bit jittery and coming in and out. So here I'll just fast forward this bit of me playing around with them and sussing that fact out. So here guys, you can see I'm inside now. I'm just using some hand clamps to hold in position some more 90-degree brackets. These are actually some that I had laying around from the NASA camper van build that I haven't shared too much with you guys with yet, but we shall do bits and bobs when we're out in the field, I think. But anyhow, you can see I'm just clamping it in position and screwing it in place to the side rails of the roof structure. So again, after adding, I believe at this point, I think I'd added the second strut. I've used two strut rafters going across the roof here, and just to double check everything's square and true still before I proceed, the best thing would be to slide the framework out. I'm just checking everything seating and looking as it should before the next stage. Right, so now here comes the really fun part. I'm not going to talk through all of the cutting, but all I'll tell you is, using my circular saw here, I've already scored a line to the length of the roof. Now you'll listen to the audio coming now. Now I've got my goggles on. Now what I wish I'd actually had on at this point was long sleeves, gloves, breathing apparatus, fireman's suit, and a diver's suit on top of that, because this was messy. So now here you can see we've got a long sleeve hoodie over the top of my t-shirt. Considering it was about 28 degrees Celsius on this day, I was willing to protect myself even more from the metal swarf that I was getting off of this corrugated metal roof, with gloves and then the goggles and hat still over the top. So again, at this point I thought I'd do the next two pieces of roof together at the same time to save the number of times I had to use that awful circular saw on this horrible stuff to cut. But we get so far and then it starts pinching, so it becomes very, very difficult to do. So I just had to just slowly eat away at it and get through the next cut here. And so more cutting. What I'm going to do here is really speed up this next section of just basically more cutting of the steel corrugated roof. So we get onto the fixing this on top of our timber framework. So now with our cut sheets, we're literally ready to place them on top of our timber structured roof. Being careful not to tear the membrane that I've previously tacked to the wooden framework, just as a bit of extra anti-dew anti-weather layer there, or I should say anti-condensation. So we're now just sliding it up and just basically making sure it's in place to exactly where we need it to be along the three edges there, and then we're ready to make sure we find our roof rafters to screw in our roofing screws, which you'll see a short clip of in a little while. And again, we get the second sheet, give it a good wipe down and bit of a brush off before installing it, as it had been sort of stored outside. These were reclaimed sheets that I got that somebody had in storage for years that never got round to using. So good to do a bit of upcycling of unwanted material. So yeah, same applies. We'll now just double check that this is the larger centerpiece. So I've just got to measure the difference between from end to end to make sure we're laying it in the exactly in the center and overlapping the first sheet. So yeah, more adjusting and screwing in, as you'll see this clip speeded up. And then the third and final sheet, checking its alignment before then screwing in to the rafters and the framing. So you can see here more of a close-up of what the roof looks like, and pre-drilling a pilot hole for the roofing screws, because they were self-tapping roofing screws, but they was quite tough to get through this thick steel, so I just helped them on their way. As you can see, even with the drill bit, it took a little bit of pressure. It was tough steel, this sheeting. I just want to add at this point, actually, these roofing screws were blooming awesome. The thread, the coarse thread on them really bound the roof into the timber structure below. It really pulled in and gripped ever so well. And for those that haven't used them before, the heads also come with like this seal, a flexible washer as such underneath the heads, that then seal the hole you've just made by screwing, the threaded end through. So here we get a little shot of the roofing material bolted, well not bolted but screwed down, and there's one of the screws in question. You can see the large area flat washer underneath, and that washer's got like a seal behind it. So here we are, guys, metal work all on the roof, coming through the doorway. If I just pan up, you can't see the metalwork because that's a waterproof and breathable membrane that I put below it. And actually that helps it keep nice and cool in here, to be honest. The sun's it's been hot, it's been 30 plus degrees in the UK, and when I've stepped in here, it's been nice and cool, which is good news for equipment. And yeah, so just to catch you up, this is about 5 or 6 days later after finishing the corrugated roofing, fixing on the final bit of the roof. Because what I then did do without filming, listen to me, without vlogging anything, was put these through bolts through the timber framework. As you can see, this one's cleaner. There's another through bolt, and that goes into the concrete like a metal raw plug, and tightens and basically clamps that to the concrete. I've done 1, 2, and then another one there. You can see the concrete dust that I've had to drill out. They're 16mm they are, so I've got a big old 16mm drill bit that just about fitted in my drill. So I wanted to show you them. And now for the moment of truth, because now when this roof, this is 1200, well 7 foot, is it 1200 odd millimeters long. So when that slides down, there'll be a fair bit of weight hanging off the front. And there is plenty of timber in this, but I didn't want to even give it the chance to try and tip the whole structure over. So therefore, pinning this down is good, not just for windy weather, but bolting it to the concrete base like that will give me a bit more security. But I'm thinking of putting some insulation, just some thin stuff, not sure what type yet, on the inside, just to keep more stable temperature changes, slower temperature changes in here. Right, so here we go. I'm going to re-rig up the camera outside so you can watch me do the first roll off. Right, here goes. Now undo the two release catches. Which aren't the easy. That one's just clicked back in. That's one. That's, oh, here we go. That's it. That's out. Oh. There she is, I think. All the way out. Right. Yeah, that's definitely all the way out. Oh, that's the metal roof catching on the hedge that I didn't quite cut low enough at this end, because it's sitting nicely in amongst the side hedge there. The roof's gone and I can see the moon. Oh, that's the first bit of astronomy we've done in the new observatory. Oh, that's good, isn't it? Great. Those runners are looking nice and solid. Yeah. They're both opening at the same, yeah, the timber's exactly level, so that's pretty good alignment. And ball bearings look nice and lined up in there. Nice. Well, that's roof off. Let's go roof on. Need to cut back some of this buddleia to make life easier, of course. Yep, that's back in its catch. Back in its catch. Back into the start position. Well, there we go, guys. The first roll off. Cheers. Well, there you have it, guys. Thanks for those if you've made it this far through this extremely long video of this final piece of main construction of the observatory. Thanks for all your kind comments and support. And those of you new to the channel, please just hit subscribe and that bell icon for more updates on the progress of the observatory and fun observations to be had. Well, thanks again, guys, and I'll see you on the next one soon. Cheers.